Hey y'all, I just want to let you know that we have a Patreon channel. That's right. If you did not know, we are on Patreon. Our Patreon is $8.99 a month where you can come and watch all of our visual elements to our podcast show. So all you have to do is click the link in our description box and it will take you right there. It's only $8.99 a month. Make sure you go and subscribe. Bye. Welcome back to another episode of the Hella Chisme Podcast. My name is Dana and I'm your host. Good morning. It is a very early Wednesday morning. I'm sitting here drinking my morning tea, honey, and recording this episode with you all. And then Mama has to get ready and go to work. And then I'm going on vacation for the next couple of days. Thank you, Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, are y'all here? Are y'all all here? Did we survive the rapture that was supposed to have come over the last 2 days? I know I'm here. So if we all here, or if I'm the only one, then I guess these will now become my testimonials now that I'm alone here on earth. Well, I hope you all are doing okay, having a great week so far. We have a good episode lined up for today, and I hope you enjoy. So sit back, grab your tea and your morning drinks, and take a listen. Bye. All right, and welcome back. So, today on this episode, we have a wonderful guest named Ryan, and we'll let Ryan introduce himself. But for this week, I wanted to have a conversation about AI and podcasting. When I came back, I have been doing some research about, different podcasts and different creators using AI avatars and just using the AI technology and bringing it into the podcast world and also the content creation world. And it just opened up a lot of questions for me and also made me kind of curious. Like, I kind of at some point entertained the idea of creating like an AI avatar to have on the show and co-host with it. Like, I don't know if you're familiar, Ryan, but I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, there was a show called Zvita's World, and she was what I guess you can say now was a artificial intelligence character that was created to host a music video channel, and she hosted the show. She talked, she interacted with fans, and she also just created like a vibe in this like art this studio. And it was one of the coolest things at the time because, I mean, nowadays it's, something that a lot of people are using and are doing. But at the time, it was super new and super cool, honestly. So without, giving too much away at the beginning, Ryan, please introduce yourself to the people. Tell them a little bit about what you do and feel free to plug, a little bit of what you got going on right now, too.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me on. And I think you actually came across one of my AI podcasting YouTube videos is probably how you reached
Yes.
out to me to start with.
Yep.
So yeah, just a quick background of kind of who I am. So I'm an AI YouTuber. That's what I do on the side. Actually, I'm at a little over 22,000 subscribers now. I've been doing it for just over 2 years now. And then in addition to my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Ryan Dozer, I'm also running a marketing agency. So I focus on high ticket lead generation. I have clients in the cash based medical space, the dental IT space, and several other industries, excuse me, where I'm just doing kind of, lead generation through SEO, through paid search, and all the other marketing mediums. So that's kind of a high level of what I'm doing. I am all over the place, but I have been focusing a lot on my YouTube channel lately, which focuses mostly on marketers, content creators, and business owners. And I show them how to leverage AI to save time, scale content, and ultimately make more money online. It's kind of my tagline there.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, that is exactly how I found you. I was deep diving into like AI creators, different folks and how they do it. You do a very good job at explaining the different platforms that you use and have experience with, which was one of the reasons why I reached out. Because I was like, I'm super interested in learning about this. And I always try to go for the people who know more than me when it comes to certain things so then I can learn because I think that's the best way to learn. So thank you for being open to join us and thank you for coming on the platform. So one of the questions that I have is tell us a little bit how you started to delve into the AI world and getting into it, and just a little bit of a background of how you started to create your characters.
Absolutely. So let me preface before we get into the AI avatar stuff. So this was before Chat GPT came out. I remember in college, like 2016, 2017, I was using a tool called Spin Rewriter, which at the time was literally just repurposing a paper that I had. Didn't really know if it was AI or natural language processing at the time. I was just like, whoa, this is cool, right? Well, fast forward to 2021, 2020 ish, I dove into a tool called Jasper AI. I don't know if you're familiar with that, formerly known as Jarvis. And then what I didn't realize at the time was Jasper was actually using OpenAI's models via API. This was like GPT-3 at the time. And then fast forward to 2022, we all know what happened then. Chat GPT rolled out at the end of
Mm-hmm.
2022. That's when the AI scene really exploded. And so to better answer your question here, I'm a marketer by trade. I've been in the marketing industry for over 10 years now. And I just by default landed into AI because the reality is, especially in 2025, if you're a marketer, you have to understand how to leverage AI, whether it's for ideation, creating content, repurposing content, or you're going to fall behind very quickly in the marketing industry. And then ever since ChatGPT came out, it's really just been an upward spiral from there. Started the YouTube channel, started diving into, which I'm sure we're going to talk about all sorts of tools on this podcast episode. Claude, Gemini, HeyGen, 11 Labs, so on and so forth. But that's kind of a high level, right? Jasper, ChatGPT, and then just kind of went up from there.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting enough when you talk about ChatGTP because when you talk about 2022 and you talk about versus now, I mean, ChatGTP has come a long way, right? And one of the things about artificial intelligence is even though it uses information that it has to be able to provide you with information, it also continues to collect information to make itself better. And so, in thinking about that and thinking about just some of the experience that you have, what are some of the coolest examples that you've seen on the internet that you think has been the most fascinating about like creating these AI avatars or AI characters and things like that, or using it for marketing?
Yeah, so I'll plug myself first. So I actually have a realistic clone that if you go
Hmm.
and look at my shorts on my YouTube channel, about 90 to 95% of that is my AI clone. So, I
Mm,
can go through the process later on of how I created that, but that's first and
yeah.
foremost. Then I also use that clone across my TikTok, my Instagram Reels, and other short form platforms. And just a quick tip for listeners and yourself, just whoever's interested in this, I would recommend using a clone if you're going to do it for short form content instead of just pure
Hmm.
long form. I think that way it's
Mm,
not as easy to catch, in my opinion, which I'm not saying I'm trying to hide it. I'm transparent if people call it out, but you
hmm.
only have 5 seconds to capture people's attention with that hook and whatnot. And if someone sniffs AI in the first few seconds, well, they're just going to scroll up and skip to the next video. right? So you want
Right.
to focus on the short form side. But outside of what I'm doing, a couple other creators that have really jumped out to me, Sabrina Romanoff. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Mm-hmm.
with her. She
Mm-hmm.
founded a tool called Blatato. She's one of the top AI creators in the world at this point. She's literally scaled her clone to help her become one of the top AI creators across all platforms. She has a really cool
Wow.
story. I've gotten to know her really well lately. Julia
Mm-hmm.
McCoy is another big name that I've gotten to interview. She was recently
Mm-hmm.
on Dr. Phil. She had a chronic
Wow.
illness because she couldn't record videos with Lyme disease, or
Mm-hmm.
I forget what her illness is. She deployed her AI clone to take over her YouTube channel. And her story was so inspiring. Like Dr. Phil picked it up, and she was just on there about a month ago. So those are
Mm-hmm.
two really big ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's really, really cool. Interestingly enough, we were having a conversation about accessibility today at my 9 to 5, and how we can use different tools like AI to be able to help people access whatever it is that they're needing to use it for. So that's really cool. I'm definitely going to have to look up some of those creators. So. Um, let's get into some of these platforms. I guess to name the top ones that you use, I guess would be the best way to start. And then maybe sharing some of your process if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give all the sauce here. I'm not going to hide anything from what I know. And I'll
Okay.
just talk about purely from an AI avatar perspective. We'll start there. So I
Okay.
use HeyGen to actually build the AI avatar. In my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
they're the best platform out there, but you want to be on that first paid tier. I think it's like $29 a month for unlimited avatar videos. Synthesia, I'm sure you've heard of that one. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
I've dabbled,
Mm-hmm.
not as good as HeyGen in my opinion, but to each their own. So HeyGen's
Mm-hmm.
the top player for AI avatars. And then for voice is 11 Labs. Now, I hope
Mm-hmm.
HeyGen eventually cuts 11 Labs out of the mix. The reason that I use 11 Labs is because this is the best AI audio generator currently available today. And you have to be on their pro plan to create what's called a professional voice clone. And again, if you go look at my avatars and watch some of those shorts on my YouTube channel and you're listening to me or watching me right now, it is very hard to distinguish based on how I'm sounding versus the voice clone that 11 Labs created of myself. And so, yes, you have to feed it samples, right? You have to feed it, 5, 10, I think it's like a half hour, maybe to 60 minutes of high quality audio with a high quality microphone in order to get that output. And then in addition to that, I use ChatGPT Plus or Claude Pro. You could use Gemini to come up with those scripts. And I'm not just saying going to the main screen of ChatGPT. I'm talking about using a custom GPT or a project that's trained with your knowledge, your data. It understands how you actually write or how you actually sound. So you're not just letting AI throw the AI slop words out there. That's very distinguishable with your clone. So to reiterate all of this, it's really three tools. It's HeyGen, 11 Labs, and then either ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, depending on your preference of LLM.
Nice. And so, when you're creating in these, say for instance, you know, you've created a clone, right? Is there an opportunity for people if they want to create something different than just like a clone of themselves? Like
Yeah.
if they want to create like a whole different persona, like in the metaverse world where people are using the goggles and they're in a different universe and they're creating these different characters and these different people, is there an option to do something like that?
Yeah, HeyGen actually has what's called a UGC feature. So I want to say these are real people that are getting paid with royalties from HeyGen and 11 Labs, that you can just
Mm-hmm.
take people's voices in different languages with different
Wow.
accents. You can take UGC creators from HeyGen. And then, of course, we can get into like the VO3 and all that stuff of the world where we can create those talking baby, videos, or like the Sasquatch
Mm-hmm.
video that we see
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. So there's all
Mm-hmm.
different ways that you can spin it, but you can go the VO3 route, or you can use other people's voices on 11 Labs and then other people's avatars through HeyGen.
It's so funny you bring up the talking babies. Those things have been taking over my TikTok timeline.
And
They're
there
pretty
are other like
hilarious.
white labeled tools, that generate those just from like a text. But all that is, it's just a wrapper where it's using VO3 or 11 Labs in the background and spinning it up.
And 11 Labs, that's one of the platforms you're mentioning that you can use for creating the voice
Yep.
part of the content. Is that
AI
correct?
audio. Yeah. AI audio.
AI audio. Okay, cool. And so I have a question about like your thoughts on just kind of the my introduction to podcasting was obviously the human aspect of it, right? And bringing people in and creating a community. Do you feel like bringing AI into it and bringing kind of and like avatars takes away from that, or do you still think there is an opportunity for building connections with different communities?
That's a great question, and to be honest with you, I think that people always want they crave that human interaction, right? And one thing
Hmm.
I learned from someone who helped me when I was growing my YouTube channel is they always told me, they said, the message everywhere is almost similar at this point. All the information that
Hmm.
someone wants to know, it's already out there. They follow the messenger, not the message. Right? And that's really good advice because,
Hmm.
why do people follow me? My authenticity, the way I explain things. Maybe I'm just a personable guy. I don't know, but they're following me because I'm a messenger, right? Everything I
Hmm.
say is not revolutionary. They could go look up the same thing I'm saying across 100 other YouTube videos or blogs or whatever. So, my personal opinion is if you want to stand out and actually build a credible audience and something long term, I think you have to show up, turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, and put in the work to actually record it yourself. And then you can use AI to distribute, remix, and repurpose that into short form video clips with your clone, short form social media posts, emails, blogs, or use AI for the outline and the ideation component, but actually showing up and talking like we are right now. I think that's what's going to resonate with people, especially as we get forward, where we're going to be in an era, if we're not there already, where trust is dwindling by the day. People don't even
Hmm.
know anymore if something is AI or not. When you read
Hmm.
something, hear something, watch something, the first question that's going to pop in people's minds as time goes on, was that AI? Well, now that they're asking that, the trust is already gone, in my opinion. So you have to show up and deliver to resonate with people.
You bring up a very good point, because we are now in a space where trust is dwindling, and every like I was just on TikTok earlier and was scrolling through threads, and there's these videos of this giant water tank in the middle of a mall that's crashing down on people, and you're like, that's definitely not real. But there's no blood, there's no there's no people like being crushed by this. So, I 100% hear you when you say the trust that people are is dwindling down, especially because, they see things like that, or they see, where there's a person having a conversation with another person in a car, but it's clear that it's an AI video, right? So I 100% believe you and hear you on that.
Deepfakes are a
Uh,
dangerous thing to society, And one thing I've seen lately, I think, is the new big trend. I think text is already done. I think trusting any text on the internet is gone, right? AI is already
mhm.
past that point. But what the trend that I've seen lately, especially on TikTok and Reels, are like those juicy stories of like these fake court cases and these fake situations on the airlines where someone's getting after it with a flight attendant and it looks real. And there's all these people in the comments like, how would he say that? Or, oh my God, but it's all AI generated. This is how good this
Mhm.
technology is getting just to trigger
Mhm.
people's emotions and stir them up and get visibility. And then the algorithm loves that, of course.
I cannot tell you, my husband listens to those stories all day long, and he listens to them the most in the morning when I'm getting ready for work. And I literally, and so it's the ones where they're like, somebody could be chopping up fruit or something in the
Oh, yeah.
video, or like a conveyor belt or something, like something's coming down the conveyor belt, and like this voice on the other end is telling this story, and I'm like, that story does not sound real at all. I mean, or maybe it could be real because I mean, if they have to feed it the story or they have to feed it what they wanted to say, then maybe it could be a real story. It's just not the person whose story it is actually using their voice, right?
Right. Yeah, we'll never know.
You never know. So I guess another question that I would like to know is, knowing how far it has come when you talk about Hagen, when you talk about like the audio voice and you talk about how people can use their voices to create. Uh, tell me a little bit about your experience with like the growth of how not sounding so robotic when using AI and how it has changed over time, or if you've experienced any of that change.
Oh yeah, Hey Gen 2 years ago was terrible. I mean, back then we thought it was good, right? But do you remember the famous
Hmm.
video of like Will Smith eating spaghetti where it was all like
Yes.
morph in his hands and everything? That's what
Yeah.
Hey Gen looked like back in the day. So like as you can imagine,
Wow.
not something that's very presentable. But the
Hmm.
technology that we have today, like I said, the average person, if they saw one of my clone videos on YouTube Shorts, very indistinguishable unless you really look or know that that's my clone from me telling you. So over time, like Hey Gens of the world, Synthesia, 11 Labs, they're getting so good now. And this technology is only going to keep getting better as we have more data points and more things for them to pick up and train their models on.
Yeah, and it's just interestingly enough, like when you think about iRobot was made in 2011, if I'm correct.
Maybe, yeah, I
And
don't
you
know.
think of but and my you think of just about like where we are now with artificial intelligence and how back then, the goal was to make it very, very human-like. I do think we are now in a space where, with the different robotics that we have, the different artificial intelligence that we have, Apple Intelligence and how they are improving it on their end. I do think you can definitely see the growth over time. You can see where it started to now where it is trying its best to sound more human like, and people have done their best and put the most into making sure that they're connecting it to how humans sound, the movements that humans make. Even people like me who I talk with my hands all the time, right? And there are other AI generated or avatars or clones where they're doing the same thing. And I find it so fascinating, just, the development and how far it has come.
Yeah, and I didn't
Um,
even talk about this. I was going to do a quick. With
mhm,
automations, I don't know how familiar you are with like AI automations with Zapier and N8N and Make.com, right? Well, now it's
mhm,
so good, and there's APIs available with 11 Labs and HeyGen. I think this rolled out a year ago at this point, where I can
mhm,
literally have an automated clone. So I'll post a
mhm.
YouTube video, run it through an automation. Once that triggers, it'll scrape the transcript, create a short form video script with ChatGPT or Claude, send that off to my HeyGen API, and then it'll automatically create a clone video once that automation is triggered. And then from there, I could tell it to publish on all these relevant social platforms. So now we
Wow.
have clones that can be fully automated where I don't even have to go in and do anything.
That's crazy. I mean, like people like me right now, I stress about how I'm gonna get as much content on the internet as possible. And and then you get on Instagram and all of these different tools pop up that you can use that do use AI. And just to know that there are people who are using these tools and they are super successful on using them and getting their content up and getting it out as quickly as possible because these tools are built to help you do that. What would you say are your favorite AI marketing tools right now?
Ooh, favorite AI marketing tools. Well, I have to start with the foundation of either ChatGPT Plus or Claude Pro. And for
Hmm.
anyone listening, I would recommend that you start there before we go down the shiny object syndrome of all these other AI tools that are out there. That's a good foundation to start. And then once you're
Okay.
going off from there, it depends on your specific use case. Do you want to create an AI avatar? Look at HeyGen. Are you interested
Hmm.
in AI audio? Look at 11 Labs. Are you interested in scaling your social media content? Well, I'd recommend a tool like Blatato. I talked about Sabrina Romanoff earlier. She's the founder behind Blatato. Are you interested in
Hmm.
scaling your video content? Maybe you want a tool like Opus Clip that automatically chops up long form videos into short form viral clips. So those are just some off the top of my head. I'm sure I could think of more down the road, but foundationally, you should start with ChatGPT Plus, Claude Pro, or Gemini Advanced. And I'll throw Perplexity out there too if you're doing anything research related.
Amazing, amazing. So I wanted to wrap this part up and just by saying thank you for joining. And I just love this conversation, and I'm happy that you took the time out to come and to speak with me and chat with me. Is there anything you want to go ahead and plug? Any social media where people can find you and anything like that?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. Be sure to just look me up on YouTube, just Ryan Dozer. Also, ryandozer.com. That's my personal brand website. It's currently being redone right now. So by the time you're listening to this, if it doesn't look good, that's the reason why, but it'll look nice here hopefully soon. So those are the two places.
Perfect. And thank you again, Ryan. And we'll take a break and we'll be back to close the show.
Awesome.
Hey, y'all. If you like what you heard, make sure you join the conversation. We always say to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we definitely want you to do that. But also, we would love if you would join in with us. There's a link in the description where you can actually send us messages. You can also make sure to tag us on social media, put up your favorite clips of the show, and then tag us, and we will repost them on our stories. That is the best way to get in communication or community with us, and we would love to see y'all interact with the content. Anyway, thank you for following us, and thank you for listening, and we'll see you back for the remainder of the show. Bye. And we are back. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode, talk about AI. Kind of a little quick chat, but I have been wanting to have the conversation and to bring up the subject just because content and how we're putting out content and how people are creating it is forever evolving. And I just thought it was a good conversation to have. I did pull a card for this week from our prosperity mantra deck. So it's the mother card. I'm still trying to figure out this deck. It's very different from Golden Mantra. I think this weekend, actually, I'm going to do some reading of its little booklet that it has to kind of understand the setup and how I should be pulling these. But for the time being, it's the mother card. And it says, here we go. It says, my energy is my most valuable currency, and it expands as I nourish my mind, my body, and my soul. So it says, one, this is a favorable time to plant new seeds. They will be nurtured, grow into bountiful rewards. Two, the qualities of motherhood, including love, care, and protection, will enhance your ability to attract lasting prosperity. Three, as the saying goes, it takes a village. Don't be afraid. Reach out to people you trust in your network, in your community for guidance and assistance. And the writing prompt says, reflect on the people or activities in your life that drain your energy. How can you set boundaries and create distance from these influences to protect and preserve your energy? Sounds like we need to be reserving our energies and things that we are over exuding and overusing for things that we shouldn't be, which I think that's everybody's life story, especially these days. We all trying to just make it and move through the day as necessary. But I think that's a good one. Thinking about the energy that you're using and thinking about ways to start reserving that energy. So as you go through your week, it's good to take that with you. It's good to think about that and make sure that you're not overusing your energy in ways you shouldn't be. And take time for yourselves. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll catch you back next time. Bye.